Back in 2013, Katy Perry had dreams of owning one of the more unique properties in Southern California. She had her sights set on an 8-acre hilltop estate that was formerly a Catholic convent for nuns. Little did Katy Perry know when she first started to pursue this property, though, that it would lead to a multi-year string of drama, including a bidding war, a heated legal battle, and that by the end of it, one of the nuns that she was fighting would literally die in the courtroom.
Fireworks between pop star Katy Perry and a group of California nuns, and at the center, a very valuable piece of property, a former convent.
It feels more like a castle than a convent. This imposing villa has 21 bathrooms and some 60 bedrooms.
There is so much land for Katy Perry to go after, yes, and she has to do this to the nuns?
You can't make this stuff up. Let's get into it. Now, the property that is the subject of today's video is called a convent, or should I say was called a convent, which for any of you guys who didn't grow up Catholic like me, a convent is typically a community of monks, nuns, or religious sisters. In other words, it's just a building where nuns live. The purpose of these convents is to offer nuns permanent housing, a place for education, a place to pray, place to maintain the church, and a place to participate in various charity events. The convent we're talking about today is located at 3431 Waverly Drive in the Feliz district of Los Angeles, California. It was known as the Sisters of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and at its peak, this place housed over 100 nuns. You can see in these pictures that it's a real compound of a property with a bunch of different buildings, of course a lot of parking, and probably some pretty impressive grounds. This place was taken over in 2011 by the Los Angeles Archdiocese, and it has sat pretty much vacant ever since, although it was used for filming of the TV show My Name is Earl, and also for the most recent version of 90210. Kind of seems like a strange place for Katy Perry to want to buy and then convert into her own private personal residence, but she really wanted to own this thing. The timeline of where Katy Perry gets involved in this crazy story begins is in early 2013 when she fell in love with the property and put in an offer to buy it of $14.5 million. At the time, she said she planned to move into the property with her mom and her grandmother to drink tea, meditate, and get centered. By 2014, two of the nuns who used to live at this old convent claimed that they actually were the rightful owners of the property. They said that they should have the rights to sell it to whoever they see fit, and after watching some of Katy Perry's videos and listening to some of the lyrics to her songs, these nuns decided that they were not willing to sell the convent to Katy Perry. Apparently, of all the stuff that they reviewed, what really set them off the most is when they found a video where she joked about selling her soul to the devil.
I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music, yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Shortly after Katy Perry's offer came through, the nuns ended up selling the convent to a restaurant tycoon named Dana Hollister. I guess Hollister made a $15.5 million offer, and they accepted that offer without ever even meeting her in person. They just signed over the deed.
Katy Perry and others will learn, you don't mess with these nuns.
Yeah.
That's the nun's lawyer.
And remember, this is where things get kind of confusing because these nuns just signed this property over to this restaurant gal, but the nuns didn't even technically own the property to begin with, so they had no right to sell it to her. The whole thing's kind of a mess. By 2015, Dana Hollister already started to move into the convent, but a big lawsuit was filed by the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, basically saying, hey, we did not approve this sale. You can't just move into this property. In May of 2015, Katy Perry was still putting up a fight. She actually met up with the two nuns who were holding her back from buying the convent, and she sang the gospel song Oh Happy Day to them to try to win them over. As mid to late 2015 rolls around, there's this big case that's pending that's basically trying to figure out who officially owned the convent prior to the sale, which in turn would tell us who had the rights to sell the convent, and then last, who would be the approved buyer of this convent, whether it was Katy Perry or this other lady.
At the end of the day, they're going to go to the paperwork. There's been a lot of due diligence here. This property was purchased apparently by two different people who are all going to have their paperwork, and the paperwork, documents don't lie, people do.
Remember though, this other lady, Hollister, had already moved in, so at this time the judge ruled that she would need to start paying $25,000 per month to the nuns just while they waited to figure out the outcome of the lawsuit. There is a lot going on here. I told you guys that this is a crazy story, but it actually gets crazier. Along with the lawsuit between the nuns and the Los Angeles diocese, who was trying to get this purchase invalidated, Katy Perry also opened up a separate lawsuit against Hollister, saying that she interfered with the purchase and also claiming that Hollister took advantage of vulnerable elderly nuns. Yikes. Fast forward to 2017, and Katy Perry actually won the lawsuit. The court found that the nuns did not have the authority to sell this property to Dana Hollister. So now Katy Perry is back in the driver's seat. She gets to buy the convent once and for all. But of course, there's a catch. The sale of any church property over $7.5 million apparently requires final approval directly from the Vatican. The Vatican responded, and they said they would not approve her to purchase this convent either until she found a replacement for the property's house of prayer. I mean, at this point, Katy Perry has been trying to buy this convent for almost 5 years for almost $15 million, and she still can't get it approved. She got a small win though in November of 2017 when the judge decided that Hollister had intentionally interfered with Katy Perry's transaction. They ordered Hollister to pay a total of $15 million in damages to both the church and to Katy Perry for malice, fraud, and for punitive damages. When you get ordered by a judge to shell out $15 million to the victims of your crime, that's really gotta sting, and when you're put in this position, you really only have one of two options. First, you're either going to just pay the money if you have it, or second, if you don't have it, you're going to file for bankruptcy. Well, Hollister claimed that she did not have the money. She went the route of filing for bankruptcy. The saddest part of this whole story comes next, though. Something really bad happened during those bankruptcy proceedings. In March of 2018, this whole battle was still underway, and the two nuns that we've been talking about today actually showed up in court to support Hollister because, remember, all along they thought that she should be the one to buy the convent. Well, during that trial, one of the nuns, 89-year-old Sister Catherine Halsman, suddenly collapsed in the courtroom, and sadly, she did not survive.
Rose collapsed and died in court today during a hearing involving the ongoing battle to prevent Perry from taking over the property.
I couldn't find any records as to exactly why Halsman passed away. I mean, probably due to old age, let's face it, she was 89 years old, but you can't help but think that the stress of this long trial had something to do with her passing. As of 2019, Katy Perry's option to pay $14.5 million for this convent had expired, although most reports say that she's still willing to work out a deal there if she's able to successfully find a replacement property for the church. LoopNet has an option to search for churches and religious facilities for sale. There's 16 of these for sale in the Los Angeles area right now, but this particular facility is not showing back on the market yet, so who knows, maybe Katy Perry is still trying to work something out. I guess the Rolling Stones were right. You can't always get what you want. I'll see you guys next time.